This Crestwood Cadet Coach Conversation brought to you by Wilson Custom Tree Service. We're with head coach Justin Denner, and a long trip west on Highway 9 was a successful trip west last week, Coach. 36-21 win over Forest City. What were the positives you took away other than the result, obviously?
Ultimately our run game was very strong for us. We rushed for, I think, 364 yards. And in Cole and Maurice had great games for us, and Topher, filled in for there. And, that's all, credit to our offensive line and, how physical up front they were. That was huge for us. Defensively, we had a pick six, which was, something we haven't done in a long time here either. And, fun for the guys to execute and do, stuff that we practice every week as well.
And you had two rushers go over the 100-yard mark. I'd imagine it's been a while since you've seen that, but that's something I'd imagine everyone in the offensive unit can celebrate, despite those being largely individual statistics.
Yeah, absolutely. Ultimately, those two guys, help each other out in terms of if one's having a really good game one week, that'll free up the next guy the next week. And, it kind of gives, teams, they have to prepare for both, and one, going strong side, one going weak side, and vice versa. And, that's a big thing. And ultimately it's a huge thing for our offensive line, because ultimately, none of that stuff happens without them, paving the way for us. And, ultimately it comes back to what they did. And, that's a huge testament to them. And Cole and Maurice, reap the benefits of that.
You've discussed the physical play on your offensive line. Has that carried over to the defensive line as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime, you got one group that's, kind of, mentally, locked in that regards with the toughness, it rubs on all facets of the game, and so, we played, I thought, very physical, on both sides of the ball, for kind of the, 3 out of the 4 weeks have done a really, really good job. At Waverly, we kind of, ultimately it's, they did were a little bit more physical than we were, but for the most part, I felt we've been, just as physical or more physical than the opponents we played. And, that's a big deal. And that's something we talk about every single day is, that toughness aspect, not only physically, but mentally too.
When you look at this team from a development and an improvement standpoint, you're at the halfway point of the season. Give your team a midterm grade when it comes to those two categories.
Obviously, the record, we're 3-1 compared to last year at this time. We were 1-3, and, we're getting better each week, and that's the ultimate goal. I don't think we've played a complete game yet, which is ultimately the ultimate goal. So obviously, if we haven't played a full complete game yet, we haven't earned the A status. So we're in that B to B plus range. But we've grown so much from where we were, a year ago, and it's a true testament to the kids. They've put in a bunch of work in the last 12 months to put themselves in this position, and so it's really a testament to them and what they've done.
I know you, from a football coaching staff perspective, aren't looking at the big picture, but you're focused on one opponent this week. But you look at this matchup, you got a 4-0 New Hampton team coming to town. You guys are 3-1, Northeast Iowa Conference rivals. I'd imagine this has been the biggest game in Cresco in quite some time.
Yeah, and we talked about on Monday, and my whole thing, I tell the guys this every week, it's either every game's a big game or no game's a big game. It's either you can't, it's either every game's the most important one or none of it. We can't ride the wave of, well, this is a big game because it's, New Hampton, and then all of a sudden next week we're playing Garner and it's like, oh, it's not that big of a game. And that's where then you have the upsets, so, but, we did, make light of the fact that, these are the games, when you're playing a great opponent like this, that you're going to remember these games, when you're 5-10 years down the road, you're not going to remember, a shellacking of a team that wasn't, maybe of your caliber, but you're going to remember the you remember the big games, for my college days, I remember every central game, every co game, because those were the big ones that usually determine the conference race, and not saying that the other ones weren't as important, but those are the ones that kind of stick in the memory. And we talked about how the work that we've done has put us in this position, and the work that we're gonna do is gonna continue to develop us and keep going. And so it's a great opportunity for us to be in this position and to enjoy it.
Leave it up to us media dopes to blow things out of proportion. Fortunately, you guys deal with kids closer than we do. But as for your opponent this week, the Chickasaws, you've watched them on film. What impresses you the most?
They're a great football team, man. McShane, their tailback, all-state guy last year for him. He's an outstanding back. And we talked. He's number one in the district in rushing, and Cole's number two. So we got the top two rushing guys in the district coming to our place. One's on our team, one's on their team. And top two rushing defenses, are in our place this week. One's on their sideline, one's on our sideline. So they're an outstanding football team. They're very fundamentally sound. They're not gonna wow you with how they look or whatever the case may be, and trick plays and this and that and the other. They're gonna kind of basically try to do what we do, and line up, punch you in the mouth, get up and do it again. And they're very good at it. And we're excited for that. And defensively, their linebacking crew, I think, is their best part of their defense, which is gonna it's gonna be critical for us to win the first and second levels in order for us to run the ball well. And it's gonna be an outstanding matchup, and we're really excited.
As you should be. It ought to be a fun one Friday night. Keep your kids healthy. We wish you best of luck.
Appreciate it. Go Cadets.
This Crestwood Cadet Coach Conversation brought to you by Wilson Custom Tree Service.